Hey there, Dan Martell here, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of SaaS Academy. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to conduct your one-on-one meetings with your direct reports, and including the agenda and the questions you should be asking. And be sure to stay to the end. We're going to tell you how to get access to my one-on-one meeting planner worksheet so that you can quickly outline using the framework I'm going to teach in this episode with your direct reports. So what's interesting for me is as I coach, 100 plus software founders that are doing between $1 million and $10 million in ARR, is many of them don't understand where one-on-one meetings fit into their world. Yet when I ask them if they've ever experienced these symptoms of having people underperform that used to be really good performers, or having someone quit unexpectedly on their team, or feeling frustrated that somebody could be getting more out of the person, but they're just not showing up the way you want them to. Those are all things that one-on-ones are designed to resolve. If you don't trust me, I got this from Andy Grove over a decade ago, who was the founder and CEO of Intel. He wrote a book called High Output Management, highly recommend it. And in the book, he dedicates a whole chapter to one-on-ones. He said many times, like 1 or 2 hours invested in one of your direct reports can produce 2 weeks of high output management from that individual. Ben Horowitz from Andreessen Horowitz talks about it in Hard Things About Hard Things, where he says that he's fired people managers for not doing their one-on-ones. And even Jason Lemkin from SaaStr fame talks about it, where he says that one-on-ones are the most powerful tool a founder has to really align with their executive leadership team. So these are all things that I've experienced. Just a few examples. Mark on my team back in one of my previous companies, he was an incredible leader in the marketing team, and then he just started not performing and started not showing up on the meetings in the same way. And there was nothing I could really point to other than his vibe was off, and it went on for a couple of weeks until finally I just sat down with him and I went through the one-on-one framework I'm going to share with you guys today, and I discovered he was going through a divorce. And I'll tell you, if I didn't know that aspect of his life, if I didn't create the space to have that conversation, it would have been easy for me to just start criticizing him, holding him accountable to metrics, whatever, having, aggressive, just not being happy, and I don't know if you've ever put somebody on a short lease, or all of a sudden now you're micromanaging somebody, when truly we need to first, Stephen Covey says in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we need to first seek to understand before we're understood. And that, to me, it creates the one-on-ones, create the space for that kind of conversation. Or I had another one of one of my developers, Ryan. He was promoted to lead engineer, and all of a sudden now he had management people and blah, blah, blah. And as I'm doing our one-on-one, I'm talking to him, I ask him how do you feel about your new role? And he shares with me that he's just not happy. That he's a developer, he loves to code, he loves to solve problems, he wants to do that. And what's crazy is we thought he wanted that career path, the team and I, and we created that space. And then once he got there, he realized I'm better as an individual contributor. So understanding how to have that meeting, creating the cadence for it, is going to change your leadership style. So let's get into the 5 strategies to help you do that properly. Number 1, meeting flow. So one of the things that you need to have is a process for having your one-on-ones. If not, it's just essentially a conversation that you have, water cooler conversation, a walk and talk. But what I like to do is these 4 things. I call it CIAF. It's the one-on-one quadrant framework, okay? CIAF. They stand for these things. Connection. Connection is about building rapport and relationship with the person and asking them questions about their life, and then inviting them, potentially, if you ask about them, they're going to ask about you, to create some connection and relationship. I is all about inspiration. Inspiration is about understanding where they want to go in their career and helping inspire them to kind of progress to the next level. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the highest level of needs, after you get food, water, shelter, etc., is self-actualization. That's what people want to feel they're getting from their role in your company. If you don't do that, it's going to be really hard to get them to perform. The third is all about alignment, understanding what they believe their priorities are and what you think their priorities are, and making sure that those are aligned so that you do that right. And then the fourth is feedback. And feedback for me is a little different what most people think. It's getting feedback for you as a leader, okay? So if you're watching this and you have direct reports, you need to ask them, how have I been showing up as a boss for you? Because that's where the feedback comes into play. It's both ways. It's performance. If you do those 4 things, CIAF, you will have a great one-on-one meeting, and they can be short, 20 minutes, 5 minutes for each section. Have your questions ready to go. But we're going to dive into the specific principles that you need to make sure that they're even better. Number 2, capture AtAgenda. So AtAgenda is @agenda. Where does this come from? I read a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. And in there, he talked about the AtAgenda concept, where what you want to do is for everybody that you interact with frequently in your life, you should have an agenda doc that you just add points to their name. So AtAgenda is the name of the doc, and then I'll have all my direct reports, for example, have their names, and then I'll add things that I want to talk to them about or potentially coach them on to that list. And I use that to guide my one-on-one meetings. And the reason why is because I don't think that you should be interrupting your direct leaders, your management, unless it's project related, for sure. But if it's like a cue, let's say you saw somebody get overreactive in a meeting, or you heard from somebody else that this happened, I would just add it to the AtAgenda item. And then that way, when you're sitting down with them, you can ask them about that. Hey, how did you feel you handled this situation? You don't criticize, you just create the space to get some feedback around that specific question, but you do it using the AtAgenda doc. I just use a Google Doc, and you just add everybody that reports to you and just put some bullet lists under their names. When you have your one-on-ones, you clear it out, delete it, and then you just keep pending it for the next meeting. Minimum, you should be having your one-on-one meetings every month. If you're growing really fast, then more frequent, maybe every 2 weeks. And if you're growing like super fast, 30+% per month, like a lot of my clients, you want to be doing them weekly. And those are not weekly syncs. Those are not strategic meetings. Those are using the CIAF strategy so that you just build that space or create the space for you to connect and kind of tweak and move things forward. Number 3, skip a level. So this is a one-on-one skip a level meeting. So if you have direct reports and then they have their own direct reports, you want to actually skip a level, go to their direct report. Now, this is not for you to undermine your manager, okay? You want to go through the same process, but you're trying to accomplish, or the 3 benefits of doing that are 3 things. Number 1, you want to get some feedback on your manager. I think it's really important as a leader, if you're leading somebody, to get a 360 view. You have your interactions with them and maybe the other direct reports with that individual, but then you also want to have feedback from their direct reports so that you can get some context and get a real good 360 view. So that's one benefit. The second one is frontline information. So if you're talking to people in customer support or in product development or engineering or sales or marketing, you're going to get frontline feedback on how the market's responding, or how this thing's going on, or what's the support volume looking like, or et cetera, so that you can just get more information to help guide your team. And then the third is an opportunity to mentor. I think that one of the greatest things and privileges that you have as a founder, as you build a team, is those people, you're responsible for their employment, and they're looking up to you. And a well-timed, well-said cue, conversation, suggestion, belief in that individual, shared with that individual, can have a dramatic impact. And I think it's a really great opportunity for you to mentor and show up as a mentor to that individual to have an impact in the rest of the organization by sharing those insights and beliefs with them. So skip a line is the concept of skipping past your direct reports and trying to do that with individuals that might be frontline workers. Number 4, connect the future. Here's what I've learned. If people are quitting on you, they're either quitting for 2 reasons. 1, they're quitting their boss. Most people don't quit a company, they quit their boss. And 2 is they feel they've run out of future with you and your organization. If an individual does not have a vision for their role and how that's going to kind of progress over time, then they'll start looking at other opportunities because they don't understand how what they're doing today is gonna mature into something more interesting, more meaningful. And usually after 2 to 3 years, people are gonna start being antsy because they've learned some new skills, they've acquired some new abilities, they've produced more, they're more capable, and they're wanting to be rewarded for that. And if they can't find that within your organization, they're gonna find it exterior. And that's why we have that inspirational checklist in the one-on-one meeting format, so that you can ask them about their career objectives and their goals and the missing skills that they need to develop, so that you can build a plan for them to achieve that. Number 5, your performance. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that is so valuable to get from your one-on-ones, because it really creates a safe place for them to have that conversation, is to just prompt and say, hey, if you were me, what's one thing you would change in our organization? Or do you have any questions for me about the product shifts we made last month? Or, how am I showing up for you as a leader? How do you need me to, what do you need from me to better lead and manage your initiatives, your projects? Or is there any decision that I've made recently that you don't understand completely and would love to ask me about? So those are all really just opportunities to get feedback from your direct reports, to take that into consideration. I'm not saying that gives them an open list of, here are all the 15 things that I want from you, please get it done by Monday. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying create the space and the opportunity for somebody to feel safe. Because a lot of times they'll say, no, you're great, that's amazing, especially in a group setting. But you actually want to say things like, hey, I'm only going to get better if I get real, candid, honest feedback from my team. And that's you. And I would really love your feedback on what's one or two things that you think I might want to consider so that I can become a better leader for the team and for yourself. And there's nothing you could say that's going to hurt my feelings. I'm asking for the feedback. Would love to hear what you think. And you got to say it from that perspective, because they might be shy. And the opportunity for you to grow, to become the person who can grow the business to the next level and lead that company, is going to come from that answer. So quick recap, 5 strategies to conduct your one-on-one meetings. Number 1, the meeting flow, CIAF. Number 2, capture AtAgenda. Make that list so you capture that in real time to bring up. Number 3, skip a level meetings to understand the manager, the frontline feedback, and potentially mentor. Number 4, connect the future, because if they run out of future, they will go look somewhere else. And number 5, your performance. Get the feedback from them on how you're doing, and also give them some cues on how they can be better as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I want to share with you my one-on-one meeting planner. The link is below, so you can click that to download your copy. But in it, I walk you through making a list of all your direct reports. Ideally, you don't have more than 6 to 7. Some of you guys probably have 12 to 15. You might want to fix that. But anyways, make a list of all your direct reports, and then using the connection, the inspiration, the alignment, and feedback columns, you'll write down the 2 things for each one of those direct reports you want to bring up in your conversation, and then create the space by scheduling it in the calendar at least monthly with those people to have those conversations. And you can use that meeting planner to do that. The link is below, so click that to download your copy. If you like this video, be sure to softly tap the like button. Subscribe to my channel. If there's anybody that you feel this video could serve, feel free to share it with them directly. And as per usual, I want to challenge you to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you next Monday. How to conduct. Oh, this is so good, so good, so good.